is no antidote. There 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 is no antidote.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to see all of you tonight. And wow, so many of you wrote to me about how cool this book is. And it is really cool. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. I see a bunch of you are here. We've got Leanne is here, and Grace, and Ryan, and Rebecca, who is in Savannah, Georgia this week, she said. Jennifer says hello. A whole conversation about corsets and how corsets didn't appear in this book, but that it has everything else. And Randy, so everybody's really excited. Leanne says she was nostalgic reading this book, thinking about what all the things that we've lost with over time with globalization, and I totally agree. So I'm excited. I know Davey's excited.
I am excited. Hey, everybody. Yeah, this was full transparency. I'm about 75% of the way through the audio book. So there'll be like one thing you guys talk about tonight. I'll be like, what? but yeah, this was really fun. Like each one of these stories, I've been telling Maggie like each one, one at a time, like each night, like, you got to hear about the bees. You got to hear about the pasta. So like it's been really fun.
Yeah, and the mirror and the stuff. Oh, we've got Kat is here too. Kat is here with us tonight. Huzzah! One of the things that I liked about this book is that it actually was not grim. I mean, I did get sad at points, like what Leanne said. There's things that I'm like, oh no, I'm worried that we're going to be. But overall, I just felt joy and wonder and happiness while I read this book, and I just thought it was a great book for like things have been real lately.
Well, I mean, it is Custodians of Wonder. Wonderness is in the title, so
that is true. That is true.
Hit the mark then.
So all of you, don't forget that we need you to type in your questions and comments a little bit ahead of schedule, because it does take a little bit of time for them to get here, and then we'll pop them up on the screen. If you're viewing with us, make sure you're following the live comment feed and not the top comments, or you'll miss things. But now, without further ado, it is time to welcome Eliot Stein. With an explosion. Hi, Eliot. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me, Brandy. Lovely to be here.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. It's so nice to talk to you. It was fun because I read your book before it ever released in order to review it for the Wall Street Journal. And this happens occasionally. I'll get sent books. And I was reading it and I thought, oh, this belongs on the Peculiar Book Club. We need to make sure that we bring you back. It was just an absolute... It was so heartwarming to read, even though I kind of agree with Ryan says, I got sad second half of every chapter. There is a sense in which we're worried about the things that we're losing, but it also made me feel really good about just humanity.
That's so nice to hear you say that. There are a lot of people who I think see the sadness in the book, the fact that we're losing these things, but I'm very much in your camp, where it's so beautiful and wondrous and incredible that these things even exist in 2026. A person making pasta that takes an insanely time-consuming amount of time to produce, or a mirror by hand that's 5 days in the heat. Just the fact that these things exist in the first place, I think, is worth celebrating in some small way, and just kind of worth valuing. And so that's I get, maybe I'm a glass half full kind of person. But.
I don't know. I just loved how, I also like the weirdness of it. I mean, we are called the Peculiar Book Club for a reason, and it's just the kind of unusual things that go into creation, right? The whole soy sauce recipe thing, we gotta get into that in a little bit, because it was just, there's a lot about fermentation that I have questions about in general in human history, but particularly this one. So, we've got a couple new Abby's here. She joined us in the green room earlier, and we've got Susan is with us as well. It is so good to see us and see everybody. And also Rebecca, who's here. Rebecca is an author in her own right. So what's really great, and you're allowed to do this too, because you'll be added now, is authors can come and view the shows. You'll get all the links and everything. So, you know, we collect and then we keep. It's like, we really like your stuff. You're stuck with us forever, which is great. One of the things that Jennifer says, she says, I so loved hearing from people who have a passion for these unique practices and their commitments to maintaining them, which is so inspiring. And I agree so much. And I thought that was a nice comment to kind of springboard into our softball question, which we'll do before we get to the Davey, what is it that we get to? The announcements. Is what brought you to write this book in the first place?
Gosh, what brought me to it? I mean, I think I had this chance encounter, which I talk about in the introduction, when I was essentially a kid. I was about 22 years old, and I met this 90-year-old blind woman, and she kind of let me in on her own secret, which is that she was one of the last living custodians of this insanely difficult type of lace making. And that really opened my world and kind of set me on this path towards honoring final custodians that I think still guides me. In terms of the book itself, so I created a column here at the BBC where I work that was very much in this vein and kind of inspired the book. But one of the stories that was in it, in my column, which did not make it into the book, won this big award. And as part of this award, you get to go to New York and meet with a bunch of agents and basically pitch a book if you have a book idea. And so when I was creating this column for the BBC, I always thought in the back of my mind it would be cool to one day compile something in this vein. And I had a wonderful agent who liked the idea, and she shopped it around. And I sat on this idea for a long time. And it was only when I heard that I was going to become a father that I really sort of, things clicked. And, you know, so many years I've been profiling these people who can do these amazing things, and they pass them down within their own families. But I sort of thought, you know, what is something that I could pass down to my kid? If I can't make a mirror or ferment soy sauce or, you know, make insanely difficult and time-consuming pasta. So that's kind of the origin of it. And in a bizarre twist of terrible timing, the book sold when my kid was about 1 month old. And so then I had to figure out how to go about doing these 10 stories in 10 different countries on 5 continents with a newborn at home.
Yeah.
With none of which would have been possible without the
Oh my God.
most insanely patient and wonderful partner who I have. Held it down, and this is a testament to her. But yeah, that's kind of the origin of it.
Yeah.
I've gone
So
through
Davey has 3.
Yeah. They know I've gone through my own journey of early parenting, and I feel you, man. Whew. That
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah, I've had to sleep on the couch every night for the last 5 years to make up.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's funny because I don't have children. I have Darwin and Wallace, the cats, but we've all sort of lived vicariously through the Davy babies. Because he has a boy named Blake, but then he also has twins.
Twin girls. Yeah, there are 2. So we're twin terrible 2s right now. So
Man.
it's an adventure in our house right now. They tell me every morning what shirt they want to wear.
That's important. They know their own mind, I suppose. That's good. Well, we're going to go ahead and do the announcements. I've queued up a couple of questions, and folks can continue adding them on here. Ryan, I remember Ryan said something earlier about urine on Facebook, and I want him to come back and formulate that as a question. So Ryan, you're on. But first, some announcements. So if you are watching this from YouTube, we can be connected in almost any way. I am slightly frightened of the proliferation of social media. However, I've made sure the Peculiar Book Club is on all of them. So you can find us anywhere. On Facebook is where we have our Facebook group, the private group. If you want to join that, it's great because it's kind of a slightly more, since it's private, it's a little bit more protected, and we share with each other. You guys can put stuff up there too. And that is a lot of fun. So we also are on Blue Sky, and you're watching us on YouTube. this is also a podcast. So some of you are not watching on YouTube. Some of you are listening to the podcast, and our podcast is amazing because it's not just this show. It's also there's the mystery podcast, film podcast, lots of other fun stuff to go on there.
Right.
Newsletter is still the best way to get information from us, though. And if you join our newsletter, you get the links to the show plus other information about, upcoming things, upcoming podcasts. I usually put a little musing in there, like random stuff that I'm thinking, which is always weird and sometimes worth reading. So you should check it out. You should join the newsletter. Oh, yes. And we'd love it if you were a paying member. You don't have to be one, but we would really enjoy it. Our VIPs do get some extra perks. You can join for as little as $5. You get all the shows. There's backstage with the authors. There's cool swag. You get some extra content. We do these digital downloads every month, which is fun. And you get to recommend books for the next year. You also get our VIP events. So we just had our first 2. We did a movie watch together where Davey and I broke the internet, actually, trying to watch Buckaroo Banzai.
The movie watch is still a work in progress. We'll iron out the kinks for next year.
We're figuring that out. But we just did the Zoom coffee night where everybody got to do an open mic. Yeah, nice. Open mic night, and it was great. People read poems. It was just great. Davey read a story. It was awesome.
Got to hear one of my original short stories.
The scary one. The one I was hoping you'd do that one. And we will have some more coming up later in the year. Our big Halloween party and our mystery event at the end of the year, which is I don't mean it's a mysterious event. I mean it's a mystery event. Davey, help me.
Abby says, Buckaroo Banzai, it makes the ganglia twitch.
It does. It does.
I want to know what's with the watermelon.
I know, deeply. I want to know that too.
If you come to the Halloween night, will I be wearing the Mandalorian helmet again, or will I have a new costume? You'll have to tune in to
will you?
Out.
If you're a character from Buckaroo Banzai, I mean,
ooh, that might be fun. Yeah. All right.
Oh, our book cocktail. So this is for you, Eliot. We Kat, who was on here earlier, Kat Richardson, she is our cocktail maven. And this one was developed specifically for this book, and she included a little bit of dark soy sauce. So, just for that little extra added thing. Pale sour beer, rosemary simple syrup, grapefruit juice, dark soy sauce, ice cubes, and a grapefruit peel. And there were several names in the mix, but this one, the one that won, oh, there she is. Kat. And she does these lovely, beautiful photographs as well, which are super artistic. And this one we named Lost Sauce. So there you go, Eliot. This is for you.
And Kathleen, you don't know this, but I used to live in Berlin, and that Berliner Weisse brings back so many fond memories. So thank you so much for that.
Nice, very nice. Perfect. Serendipity. Rebecca said because she's traveling, she's just doing whiskey on the rocks, but it does look amazing.
I have a great soy sauce and drinking story in a second.
Oh.
The runner-up was Rosemary Bridge, which was also a fun name. Yeah. All right. And last but not least in our announcements, yes, the Peculiar Movie Club is still going. We're like 2 months behind, but hey, it's the summer. We'll catch up. Me and Darren, my movie podcast co-host, we try to theme a movie around the book. So for April, we needed something about like man versus nature and stuff like that. So we did our first anime, Princess Mononoke. So I've watched it. Absolutely incredible. I have so many thoughts to share with you. You're definitely going to want to tune in when that episode hits. We'll post it on the social medias and everything like that, so you know when that's out. I actually need some help for your book, Eliot, because I have one movie in mind, but it's so... Everything in your book is so specific that there's no movie about it. There's no movie about Inca bridge builders. There's no movie about... what's the instrument? The first chapter, the instrument that he plays.
It's called a telephone.
Telephone. Yeah. So, I can't find a movie that fits your book because every chapter is so unique. So, I did find one movie. It came out a few years ago with Aquafina called The Farewell, and it had to do with the kind of the ancient customs of how they say goodbye to an elderly person who has a terminal disease. And it very much does what you do in the book, which is it kind of gets into the whole culture of it. And it's much more than just a bridge or a pasta, right? It's a whole story about a community. So that was a possibility, unless you have a movie in mind that you think is like, oh, I think this would pair really well with my book.
Great question. I probably not, but I will say I haven't seen it, but I have heard that the latest Paddington Bear movie references the bridge and maybe features it.
Okay.
I guess he goes to Peru. The bear goes to
Bear goes to Peru. Okay, I will watch the trailer. We will consider, because I know the Paddington movies are held in quite esteem across the pond.
They are, but also I was thinking you could actually watch that one with the kids.
All right, we'll put it on the list. Thank you. All right. So yeah, do you want to hear the soy sauce story? Should I save it for
I do want to hear. I think we want to hear the soy sauce story.
My friends were idiots, and they're like, oh, a shot of soy sauce wouldn't be that bad. So we decided to do a Russian roulette thing. I was like, okay, you guys go on the other room. I'll be in the kitchen, and I'll do one shot glass with soy sauce, and then the rest we'll do with whiskey. And then I was like, oh, it's not dark enough. I'm going to add a little Coke to even out the color. And they're like, okay. So the three of them come back in, and the 3 shot glasses, and they all take their shot. And all 3 of them, they're spitting into the sink. One guy actually like almost throws up in the sink. They're like, oh, I got it. I got the soy sauce. There was soy sauce on all 3 of them. They're idiots. They left me alone. So, yeah.
I don't think I could do a shot of soy sauce. That doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. All right. Well, I like any story that starts, my friends are idiots. The questions are queued up, so I am going to switch over and we're going to start asking you some questions from the group. Oh, it is Mark. He is a great owl delivering of the coffee. Thank you. Oh, Mark, owl deliverer of the coffee. So we didn't have a comedy sketch, but that counts. I think that pretty much counts. That was Lady Pause, by the way. When we do our comedy duos, I am Finger Guns and he is Lady Pause and his owl hat. It's hard to know what's going to happen around here, frankly, Eliot. All right, first question. Cuba really embraced culture into its labor. The idea of lectures never even occurred to me, like living audiobooks. So we do need to talk about that because I was so fascinated by the Cuba chapter, and I don't think, well, we don't talk about Cuba very much in this country. So, what was that like? I mean, you want to give us a little, in case anybody hasn't read the book yet, a little précis of what that was about?
Yeah, Cuba has this fascinating tradition called lectores, which in Spanish just means the readers. And it's exactly that. It's very on the nose. Cuba's one of its biggest cultural exports is its cigars, something that I knew absolutely nothing about before diving into this chapter. But one of the least understood parts of cigar making is the role that these readers play. So imagine every day in a giant warehouse, people are rolling cigar after cigar after cigar by hand in the sweltering heat in this job that is very manual, very monotonous. And so as a way to both entertain the rollers, but also historically to educate them, you have one person in a podium who reads the newspaper and also reads a novel. And it's not just this cute, quaint thing that started as a way to pass the time. The way that it originated was that when Spain was ruling the island, Cubans were at one time forbidden from gathering and reading. And so at a time when many Cubans themselves couldn't read, they took this idea, which originated in prisons, as a way to educate inmates, and they transferred it over to cigar rollers. It was a way to educate these working class people to both become more worldly and more literate. And what's fascinating about this tradition to me is that when Cuba entered into its independence and its quest to free itself from Spain, the leaders of the independence movement were the cigar rollers and the readers. They were the working class, most educated individuals who, it's not a stretch to say, really led the quest for independence. And so if anyone listening has ever heard of the name Jose Marti, who's kind of the George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abe Lincoln rolled into one of Cuba, he gave his most electrifying calls for independence, including the the Cuba Libre, which is not just a drink, but kind of the name of his most famous speech from the podium of a cigar factory to rollers. And so I went to Cuba and profiled some of the last people who are still doing this against all odds in 2026. And, when you have audiobooks and the radio and Spotify and, don't in theory need this thing anymore, but I think you could make the case for every tradition in this book. You don't really need these things in a practical way, but it represents something. And so I went at a really interesting part in Cuba's history. I don't know if people listening might remember a couple of years ago, Cuba had one of their first public protests in decades. And you had people in the street who were then imprisoned for 30 years because they were calling for the overthrow of the government. And so it was happening at a very, very desperate time in Cuban memory, pretty similar to what's happening right now in Cuba. But it was a very eye-opening chapter to report.
Yeah, that's it. It just was so interesting because I originally, I'm starting the chapter, I'm like, they read the cigar. Like, I'm immediately thinking it's like reading tea leaves. I'm thinking they're going to read the tobacco leaves. And then, of course, no, they're reading the leaves of books. Anyway, it was fascinating. And I really enjoyed reading that chapter a ton. So I see some more questions in here. This one from Jennifer Pierce. My husband and I love sushi and have talked of travel to Japan. Now I feel I must have real soy sauce. How likely is it I can find it? Advice?
Jennifer, you are in luck. The individual that I profiled, a wonderful guy named Yasuo Yamamoto, since I've published the book, has now started exporting it to the US. And if you are living in the US, you can find it. The name of his company is Yamaroku, which is spelled Yamaroku. And I'm 99% of the time reluctant to encourage anyone to order anything from Amazon, but that is where he sells it if you want to get it. So if you search Yamaroku 4-year soy sauce, you can find it there. It is you will not look at regular soy sauce the same way. And I will say, as it sounds weird, but if you get it, drizzle some on vanilla ice cream.
Really? Oh, here we go.
It's fantastic.
Here it is.
Yep.
I am really interested. So, okay, so I drizzle aged balsamic vinegar on ice cream. So is it sort of like in the same, is that kind of what we're doing there? Is it a similar sort of?
So I've never done that. I'm not a balsamic vinegar guy.
Try it on ice cream.
Yeah, I should try it on ice cream.
I don't know. I think I'd go soy sauce first, then balsamic
It's
vinegar.
really good.
I don't know.
It's really good.
I've heard people who do that. I think you're probably in the same ballpark. But yeah. And so the stuff you want to get is the first one that in that website. So it's not the Ponzu. Ponzu's sweet, but it's going to be this first one here,
Okay.
Surubichio, and that's the one that's 4 years old.
Okay. And you can get it on Amazon in the United States.
You can get it on Amazon in the United States as of about a year ago. Yes.
Wow.
But it's great, and it's especially if it's a fun dinner trick if you want to impress people. But you can let them know that they've probably never had real soy sauce. And
Davey, you might want to put that link in our chat.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Well, that's the website. I mean, let me find it on Amazon.
Stiro Bish that. All right. That's brilliant. Yeah. We just pop that in the comments and then, because I'm thinking we might all want to just copy and paste that for a minute. We're going to have a big soy sauce party. Our next VIP event, soy sauce party. Jennifer's like, I just ordered it. This is great. That is awesome.
Again, not that we want to support Amazon, but
no, but you know what? As an author, you buy your books wherever you want. Just buy them. I'm all about that. Though we do actually have your book for sale on our bookshop.org. Peculiar Book Club has a bookshop.org. Your book and all our other books are on the bookshop.org. And I almost forgot during the announcements to show why didn't I show this off? So the other thing that we did send to people this year who were VIP members, at great expense because shipping sucks. But we've made all, including your book, into these cards, like tarot cards almost. And the cards have the cover of the book on it And then on
cool.
the back, it has interesting. Remember, I asked you for a bunch of interesting facts. That's why. There's these fascinating facts on the back, and the covers on the front. And these got sent out in the mail to all of our. Yeah, we do it for real around here.
That's awesome.
All right, I meant to show that during the pitch. All right. We've got some other. So Davey's put up various. Oh, is that for the?
It's one link. If you click
Oh,
it,
got it.
works.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay. On wish list. Everybody's okay. Everyone's doing all this stuff. This is very exciting. I'm very excited. I want to have real soy sauce.
You're wondering where all these orders from the U.S. are coming from, and it's all coming from the Peculiar Book Club.
Oh, not from the U.S. We're all over. We're global.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, some of us are definitely in the U.S. though.
Yeah.
Jennifer, it's got the 2-pack. She said, one for me and one for my foodie BFF's birthday. This is great. Oh my gosh. I feel like I need to get one for Andrea. She's a foodie.
Okay, so this is the chapter I haven't gotten to yet. So just quickly, what is the difference between actual real soy sauce and what we think is soy sauce?
Oh yeah.
Great question. So the next time you go to where you normally get your soy sauce, presumably a supermarket, take a look at the back and see what's in it. And so real soy sauce should only have 3 ingredients. It's water, it's soybeans, and it's wheat. Might be a little bit of salt in there. But soy sauce that you get in a supermarket is pumped full of additives. It's got preservatives. It's got all kinds of high fructose corn syrup. It's got colorants. And the reason that this happened is because after World War II, when the U.S. was essentially running Japan for a while after we dropped a couple bombs on them, people there were the country was obviously very devastated, and as a way to modernize production and get people fed, the U.S. encouraged Japan to ditch these traditional oak barrels that they've been used for centuries to ferment the soy sauce, and the 4-year fermentation process put everything into modern steel vats and reduce the fermentation time from 4 years to a few months, and just pump things full of additives. Basically Americanize the way that you make food. And that's what people did. And ever since, you have, like Kikkoman is probably the one soy sauce company you've ever heard of. Yeah. And they started doing that. But interestingly, Yasuo revealed to me during my time with him that Kikkoman still keeps a few of these centuries-old cedar barrels, because it does things the traditional way, and it gives all of that soy sauce to the royal family. So they're the only ones who are allowed to have the real stuff. Meanwhile, everyone else just gets kind of the additive pumped kind of artificial version of it. But I say this in the book, and it's true. It's kind of the difference between like a fine wine and a boxed rosé, where it's real soy sauce is complex, it's nuanced, it's got a nutty sort of hint to it, and it's a very different thing than this kind of cheap, thin, salty imitation that we all get in our carryout. So for those of you who've just ordered, I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised when you get in there, and do drizzle someone some vanilla ice cream. It's lovely.
I've misspelled it again here. I'm still trying to while you're talking, I'm still trying to pull it up over here. Like, I need to get some of this myself. Yeah, I think you've made a believer out of all of us. That's for sure. All right, so we've got another question here. As a family man, do you now think differently about your own family traditions, past and present? Which I think is a great question, and I think both of you ought to answer this question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think so many people who have read the book mention that they think about their own family traditions. And yeah, there's something inherently confronting about the book, and it's just kind of the question of what do you pass down from your own family background and history, and what do you not? And, I don't have anything in my family that is 6-7 generations old that I know of, but there are these small things, right? It's, why do I place a penny over my door whenever I move into a new place? Why do I say the word jackrabbit the first day of every month? It's these kind of small traditions and superstitions that have been passed down to me from my parents that kind of make us who we are. And then I think in a similar vein, there are probably things from our own backgrounds that we're less proud of, and those are the things that you don't pass on or consciously try not to pass on to your own kid.
Yeah, I was going to say the big thing that we pass on in my family is intergenerational trauma.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Right?
That's like the one hand-me-down. I might need to know about this jackrabbit thing. Why do we say jackrabbit?
Yeah, I was wondering that
Anyone
too.
else do that?
It's my mom is she's in her mid-70s and she's from the South, and I always grew up hearing that on the first day of every month, the first thing that you should say is the word jackrabbit as a way to bring yourself good luck for that month. In the same way that the first day of a new year, you're supposed to eat black-eyed peas to bring you good luck for the new year. And whenever you move into a new house, I know some people like you carry a partner over the doorway, but we always put a penny on the door. What do you call that? The door sill, the door frame.
Yeah.
Whenever you move into a new house as a way to bring yourself good luck. And I think similar to a lot of the things in the book, these things are irrational and they're weird and they don't maybe make the most practical sense, but we are what we believe, right? And so my kid, he just turned 5, he gets worried if he forgets to say jackrabbit at the beginning of every month.
Wow.
And it kind of brings me joy.
That's interesting. I was thinking this too, and I kind of want the peculiars to put in the chat. Like, think about, is there something that you are going to pass down? Like, religious traditions are easy to go to. Like, yeah, some of those get carried on from generation to generation. But like, my dad's love of boating is something that he passed down to me. And I always think about the Jimmy Buffett song, son of a sailor. So I'm like, oh, that means my kids will be the son of a sailor. So I got to get my kids into boating. I got to keep the boating tradition alive, even though, boy, that's an expensive hobby.
Getting more so all the time with the fuel prices.
Yeah. But I was thinking, I actually had a chance to do that. I had a chance to be, I'm the eldest son of the Inca bridge builder because my dad was a fifth generation optician. There's an eyeglass business that goes back 5 generations. And me and my brother were both like, nah, we don't want to sell eyeglasses. We're good. So it stopped with my dad, unfortunately. This family business. If you're in the Cleveland area, Barris Optical, they're still around.
How does he feel about that?
He was okay with it. Like the whole industry. When my grandpa was doing it and my great grandpa, it was still like the friendly neighborhood optician or, the doctor with the black bag that would come visit you at your house. Now, by the time my dad took it over in the 90s, it was all insurance companies and specialty lenses, and it was a whole different game. So he was okay with it.
Right. But I like this idea. I'd like to hear, like, what are you guys passing down, peculiars? I mean, peculiarity, obviously.
He's told us a joke since we were kids, and that is definitely something that I'm going to pass down. This one silly joke that I definitely want to keep as like a family tradition going forward. So it's there's an alligator and a wide-mouthed frog hopping through a forest, and wide-mouthed frog says, "Hello, Mr. Alligator," and the alligator says, "Why, hello." And the frog says, "I am a wide-mouthed frog." And he says, "Mr. Alligator, can I ask you a question?" And the alligator goes, "Well, sure." "Mr. Alligator, what do you eat?" He says, "Well, I eat wide-mouthed frogs." The frog says, "Oh, not many of those around here, are there?" And I love this such a stupid joke that it'll make you laugh at 5 and make you laugh at 50, like.
And I'm really sorry for any of you who are listening to this right now. I'm afraid you're going to have to go to YouTube because you need to see Davey do that. It's very important for the joke.
A very visual joke. So that's what I was thinking of, like during the first 20 minutes of this conversation. I was like, that's how my dad's joke, and we'll keep that as like the family joke.
Well, Rebecca Gibson said she's got no kids to pass things on to, but is committed to bringing back vinyl. I come from a family of broken traditions, actually, because my parents were the black sheeps, the black sheep of their families. And so in funny ways, there's been some kind of odd sort of staggering here. There's already been a dog leg, we've taken a turn, a hard right. And I don't know that we have any specific traditions, really. I mean, now I'm thinking there's got to be stuff, ways of thinking, ways of speaking. There's got to be, but like I'm having a real hard time. I should bring Mark down here. Mark, because often you can't see it, right? I should bring Mark down here and be like, what's my family tradition? I need to know.
I
Jennifer
love that.
says, my husband finished that joke out loud before you did, Davey. Apparently that was his dad's thing too.
I love it.
That's too good. Well, so, okay. So all of yours so far that you've mentioned, Eliot, seem to have to do with luck.
Never thought about that.
Do you have a very, like, maybe your family is just a very lucky family or a very unlucky one?
One or the other, right? Yeah, I mean, they're recipes and they're definitely recipes. They're definitely maybe it's more like manners and stuff that are passed down to me. I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me over the years and are like, you should write about my family's apple pie recipe. I was like, well, that's not really what I do. But I mean, we all have these things, right? And the things that interest me the most aren't the small things in my family or necessarily, Deborah's grandmother's apple pie recipe, but it's kind of these things that hold together an entire way of life. That when they quietly fall away, we like that civilization, that group is not the same anymore. So the things that extend beyond a family and the things that maybe like one family does that hold together a community and kind of serve them and reflect their worldview, that's really what interests me.
Yeah.
And so maybe I should pay more attention to the traditions of my own family, but we are not serving anyone. I'll tell you that. We're part of the tribe,
But yeah. I just, you've said that now, that's made me think. So not anymore, but my grandmother was the last person who, when she passed, all of a sudden I realized I had no connections to anybody. Like she was kind of like the last person that everyone went to that house, for the big Sunday dinner. Everyone went, and her mother was that, and her mother's mother was that. And my grandmother's mother her name was Durfa, yes, Durfa Bentley, and she was a Scots-Irish woman who had who grew up and was living in a shanty coal town, and was acting as illegal surgeon because she didn't have the training, but she'd been the midwife, and so she trained herself to be the surgeon. So she was like the surgeon to this community, and she was also the center of that community. And she was the doctor, she was the wise woman, she was the moonshiner, but also the one that the revenuers came to talk to, because they're like, everybody, who's the moonshiner? And she's like, I don't know. Of course, it was under her porch. But like that center of the community, my grandmother was that too. But my mom was kind of the, she was the black sheep. I certainly am not that. I'm way too antisocial for that kind of stuff. But it is fascinating. Now that you mention it, I think that existed in my family. It just isn't. It doesn't exist there now.
That's totally fascinating. I have a lot of follow-up questions to that. But that's exactly who. When you're a travel journalist, you're going around the world with your senses kind of at full 100%, kind of trying to identify what are the telling details that make a place a place. And they're women like Durfa, right? Women who like sort of embody a place and sort of represent what that place is all about. And that's what really draws me to, I didn't know your grandmother, obviously, but I would have loved to have written about her.
She, I never got a chance to meet her. She died right before I was born, but she was also extremely tall for the time period. Like she was like almost 6 feet tall, and she had bright red hair. And like she was just this gigantic Scotswoman, and she married Cree, who was partly Native American, and he also was very tall. So it was this like huge redheaded woman and this huge Native American person, and they were just the center of this community. I mean, I wish I had more facts. I'd have to write a novel about it because there's not enough. It was all, oral tradition kind of thing. So I've totally derailed this conversation. But I did see that Rebecca said I'd make a great moonshiner. Thank you, Rebecca. I probably would.
Where did Durfa live?
West Virginia. Where most of my Scottish people got pushed out of their land into Ireland, and then out of Ireland into West Virginia, and then they met a bunch of Native Americans who'd been pushed out of their land, and I think they had a lot in common. So there's a lot of Scottish Native American cross.
Right. That's exactly right. There was, I knew it was somewhere in Appalachia, but yeah, there's a whole history of Native Americans and Scots-Irish people in Appalachia intermarrying, combining cultures. It's no one talks about it, but it's super interesting.
I think it's fascinating, but it's also it's the story of my family, but also you can't trace it anywhere. Like it doesn't. I've even tried through the various genealogy apps, and they're like, I mean, they didn't record births. They were just like, yep, had another one. There was no, we're not on my family tree or whatever. Anyway, so we've got some people throwing some things in here. I want to put these in here. So let's see. Susan says, I bet most families have a lot of quirky Christmas-related traditions. Ours are related to cooking and cookie baking. Yes, cookies, certain foods, and pre-Christmas advent calendars. I bought Mark a Whiskeys of the World advent calendar. I did the moonshine and comment. The women in my husband's family, this is Susan, husband's family all quilted, but lots do needlepoint crochet. The young ladies are keeping the stitching hobbies, which is nice. Unfortunately, Kat had to run, so she'll have to catch up with us later. I loved all the stories of preparing food. I was wondering why we haven't included more food stories. We seem to gravitate around mating rituals. Yeah, but I like the fact. So the pasta thing. Since we're talking about food for a minute, I have a question, and then I have a couple more questions that are in the loop here. The pasta tradition. Kind of found it mind-blowing, and I'm interested to see how you feel about this, because I was amazed that anybody would spend that much time making a thing, because I struggle with this, right? Because I'm thinking you're going to eat it in 5 seconds. Like my brain is not set up that way, and so my curiosity is, what is it about these traditions? Is it almost like, is it meditative? Like what? How does one get into this and make it worthwhile? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, when you say, you're kind of just going to scarf it down, but su filindeu, which is the pasta in the book, which means the threads of God, this insanely time-consuming thing, it's the same ingredients as the stuff you get in the store. It's semolina wheat, it's salt, and it's water. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 ingredients, and so it in theory tastes the same as any fresh pasta that you're going to have. It's what it represents. It's the reason that Paula, this woman who I feature in the book, she said she still gets emotional making it, and she makes it every day. I mean, it's what it represents. It's what I was saying before. It's kind of how it embodies the community.
Thank you, Davey.
And a lot of these photos I've taken, actually. So that's mine right there. But yeah, so Paula made that. It's what it represents, and it's the fact that it holds this community together. It's this thing that embodies Sardinia. It is Sardinia in a dish. And I think once you lose this pasta, and once you lose the context of where it's served and how it's served, it's no longer the threads of God. It's just pulled pasta, and it's something else entirely.
Yeah, I think that's so cool, because I ask partly because I'm a gardener and I'm a cook too. And there's cooking I do because I need to eat, right? But then also, around the holidays usually, I will make duck confit, which takes for fucking ever. It takes forever. And there's prep and there's all this stuff. And you do a lot to the duck before you ever even cook the duck. And I don't do it because I'm feeding myself. I do it because it's meditative. That's why I said it's sort of, there's something meditative about it. And I feel that way about certain kinds of gardening. Like I make sorrel soup every year. I love to make sorrel soup. I love to eat sorrel soup. It's not even that good. It's a process that I do every year. It's part of spring, right? It's a rite of spring.
It's why a lot of people garden. It's why I garden. I live in Brooklyn. I have a tiny patch of backyard, and we grow corn and watermelon and a whole farmer's market worth of things. And it's so much easier and probably cheaper for me to go buy that stuff. But you want to feel human, And so you do it yourself, and it connects you to, gives you sort of a sense of purpose. And it's also a nice thing for your son to see doing and learn how to do. But yeah, you don't want to feel just kind of like a cog.
I told you I raised chickens, and someone said, "Oh, wow, you get free eggs." And I was like, these are the most expensive eggs there are. Yeah. Like each egg is like $5.
Yeah. Do you have like the idea of how much our Brooklyn grown corn costs? Yeah, I mean, you can get like 3 years of corn for $1 at the store, and the amount of time and effort that it takes, but it's worth it.
Yeah, Abby's going to stop by, she said, for some fresh produce.
Please do. You'll see my kid doing the farmer's market thing in front of our stoop.
And Davey has a garden. Davey's been to my house. I turned my whole yard.
Feet. That's why, 4 feet by 4 feet. Some pepper plants, some tomatoes. Yeah, We get a little zucchini plant that takes over the entire 4 foot by 4 foot patch. That's usually what happens.
I have a quarter of an acre, and almost all of it has been turned over to garden. And I have gardens everywhere, and every year they get bigger. Every year I'm like, we don't need grass. What do we need grass for? It just continues to like, and I plant it all. I've got it all. I've got it all. I grow stuff you've never heard. I've got chervil. I have patches of chervil. Who grows chervil besides me? I do. But yeah, I do it for the love, because I think I probably spend, I just in the last 2 days, I've probably spent like $400 on plants. Yeah. Oh, Jennifer says there's a great book, the $64 tomato, basically about this exactly. I bet. All right, sorry. Back to your guys' questions. Jennifer said, I study Swedish language and culture. My favorite story was how do we pronounce that?
Istad.
Okay, see, I was going to do it right too. Watchman, and I love that story too. Do you have any stories or details from Istad and or that tradition that you didn't or could not include in the book? And also, just really quickly, want to give those who haven't read the book a précis of what the Istad Watchman is up to.
Yes, so the Istad Watchman, every night since about the 1200s, a lonely figure has climbed up 12 stories to the top of the St. Mary's Church in the center of Ystad, which is located in the southern tip of Sweden on the Baltic Sea. And after lumbering up 12 stories, he then looks out of the windows in a north, south, east, west direction. And when he sees that all is calm and well, and that the town is not burning down because of a fire, he will push a 4-foot-long trumpet out of the window in each direction and bellow this haunting call through the rooftops of the town, reassuring the 29,000 people who live there that they're okay. And he will continue to do this every 15 minutes between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m., just as has been done in the town for the last 800 years. And the current night watchman is a gentleman named Roland Borg, and he's now 76 years old. And for the last 105 years, there's been a Borg up in the tower. His father, Helmer, had the job before him. His grandfather, Fritz, had the job before him. And so it goes. And to the question about details that I didn't include in the book, which I think was the question, anything that didn't make it in the book. So I talk in the book, there are a couple deputies. Roland has been doing this job for about 50 years, roughly. And in the off night when he is doing something else, he has a deputy who does it. And his deputy plays this wonderful instrument called, gosh, I'm going to have to look it up, but it is essentially a wooden shoe, and you play it like a fiddle. And it is the national instrument of Skåne, which is the region in Sweden where Ystad is located.
Okay.
And if you look up Skane is how you spell the region. National instrument or something like that. I don't know why they call them national.
It was an old fiddler who lived in a shoe. I'm going to get all these stories confused now.
So it's a shoe, and he's basically whittled it into the shape of a violin, and he plays it like a fiddle. And he does this to pass the time up in the tower, which I thought was an incredible detail. And that didn't make it into the book. But I will also say,
This is the Troskfoil?
Clog fiddle. Yes, it's a clog fiddle. That's what it is.
Fiddle,
yeah.
That is hilarious.
I will say that since this book came out, Roland has retired.
Oh.
Roland no longer has the job, and one of the deputies now fills in for him, but Roland could no longer make it up the steps.
Oh.
And I still keep in contact with Roland, and I still keep in contact with a lot of the people in Ystad, and Roland is quite literally heartbroken by the fact that he can't do this anymore.
Aww.
But I did get the sweetest, kindest message. Roland got the book. I sent, obviously, everyone the book, and he sent me the kindest note about it, which really warms my heart. But he's a lovely guy. I
actually, given the state of the world, kind of would appreciate someone being like, hey, we're all okay every once in a while. Like, I feel like when I read the book, I thought, oh, what a weird thing. And then I was like, I want that. I want this in my life. I need this in my life.
My favorite detail of that chapter is the fact that I reported that chapter in late November, and it was freezing at night. And so I wore everything I owned to go up into this tiny hovel with Roland. And every night that I would go towards the church, all the windows in the town would be cracked open. And I didn't know what that was about, but everyone told me that they can't sleep at night unless they hear the night watchman's horn call, which really says everything you need to know about this tradition. It's this sense of home and kind of basically him tucking them in with his horn call every night. It's lovely.
It reminds me of like couples that can't sleep without hearing the other one snore, kind of thing,
Yeah,
Jennifer,
well, it's really. I had a hard time sleeping for a month without my cats because I'm like, when you have cats, you just hear noises at night, but they're just cat noises. It doesn't wake you up. You're just like comfortable cat noises.
Jennifer helped us out. She said, "Love it. Tra is wood, sco is shoe, and feel is violin." It is a very literal
language. Nice. Well, I have a couple more questions, but let's go do the quiz first, and then we'll finish up with these last couple of questions, and then we'll say goodbye.
Well, so obviously, like the book, every topic is so fascinating. I could have come up with 10 different quizzes, right? And for some reason, the bridge section really stuck with me. So we're going to ask you about some other interesting bridges, some scary bridges. This is called A Bridge Too Far. So 3 questions, they're multiple choice, and the peculiars will help you out with the answers here. So don't feel like it's all on you, but you give the final answer.
Okay.
So China, turns out, really loves making insanely high bridges, having built 9 of the top 10 in the world. In fact, it is literally the first 9 are them, and then the 10th one is somebody else. But which of these is the tallest based on deck height in the world? Is it I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, of course, but is it the Douge Bridge, the Huang Canyon Bridge, or the Side River Bridge?
If you had mispronounced side, I would have laughed.
Yeah. Did I spell it right? No, it's the Sidhu. That was a typo. Sorry, it's the Sidhu River Bridge.
Okay.
That doesn't seem right, yeah.
All right.
I have no idea. I'm gonna say based on the name alone, I'm gonna say it's B.
B, okay, because it has the word canyon in it, which seems smart. All right, peculiars. No one's usually there's some volunteers throwing some stuff in there. The peculiars are all like, we got no idea.
All right. So he guessed B.
No help
the
on this one.
Answer is yes. It is the Huang Canyon Bridge at 625 meters above the canyon. The Douge Bridge was 565, and the Sidhu was 496. All of these at the time they were built were the tallest bridge in the world. And then China just keeps one-upping themselves. And I don't think that picture really does justice to the scale of it. So there is a grander picture to show you what this bridge is.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
You did get some help on the question. I just wasn't
like it's not like arched at all. It is flat across.
Is flat.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say you did end up getting some help on the question, but I was not fast enough. I was not quick enough on the draw. Jennifer's comment is nope.
Well, all right, that's going to come up later. So, all right. Question number 2. I had to do a rope bridge, to honor our Inca bridge builders here. So if you want to reach the tiny island of Caraccarede in Northern Ireland, you have to cross the Caraccarede.
Probably Caraccarede, right?
There you go. I figured someone could say it better than me. It might be safer now, but it was really scary in the 70s when it blank. A, still only had one handrail, B, had round logs for its deck, or C, had uneven suspenders causing it to list to one side. People still crossed it. Back then because it's the only way to get onto this little island. It's literally this bridge or you're swimming. So
I'd swim,
what do you think
at that point?
What do you think this was so scary about this bridge?
Together. I hope you had as much fun putting this together as I'm having reading it. I'm going to go ahead and
Rebecca's like, Davey.
I'm between A and C. I'm going to say that it only had one handrail.
Okay. Interestingly enough, Ryan and Leanne agree with you and suggest that that's true. Grace suggests maybe C. So we've also got another C.
Jackie's going out on a run. Yeah, for C. Okay.
Okay. All right.
The answer is yes. It had only one handrail. So imagine shuffling along.
The reason I thought that was because the precursor of the Quetzalcoatl Bridge in Peru was this thing that you had to pull yourself over rope, like kind of like this, which made me think that's kind of how you would pass with one handrail as well.
Yeah, like a
Right.
side shuffle, just holding on.
Yeah.
There's some ladder trails. I've hiked some ladder trails in Maine on Acadia National Park where you have to shuffle along the rock face like that, holding on to iron bars.
I'm just throwing up the other comments, which are like, I'm staying home. Like, no way, no way.
Again, apologies to the podcast listeners. This is another pretty visual quiz, but
it is.
Check it out. Check out the pictures.
Just think of something that you would never ever cross in a million years, and put it over something really scary. That's basically what we're looking at here.
That was one fun thing about your book was like, because I did the audio book and I was like, I have to Google images of like every chapter. I'm like, time to Google it. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to spell it. All right. So our third and final question. The Mackinac Bridge, which connects Michigan's Upper and Lower Peninsula, is considered one of the scariest bridges to drive across in the world. Due to high winds, the bridge can sway up to 35 feet in each direction. For drivers who are too afraid to cross it, the bridge authority offers what service? A, ferry boats to cross the strait instead of driving. Drive onto a ferry boat, go up to the top deck, enjoy a nice boat ride across. B, a center lane travelator. Think of like those walking escalators in the airport that conveys your car across. Or C, a staff member will drive your car across for you. So you better hope you have a seat open in the car, I guess, and you hop in the passenger seat, and they will literally drive for you.
Okay, there's
I think
quite
I'm pretty
few.
confident about the answer for this one. I think the answer is C, and I'll tell you a funny side note about Mackinac Island once we know this. But go ahead.
All right. The answer is yes. Staff members on hand, ready to drive you across.
Okay. So why do you know this, Eliot?
So funny enough, someone will drive you across, but Mackinac Island is actually, they've outlawed, it's right near kind of the birthplace of cars in Detroit, but they've outlawed cars. And so the entire island is powered by horses. Horses they do all the like delivery service that like Amazon, they do taxis, they power like the fire department. Everything is horse powered. And the reason it's horse powered is because when cars first came out, people there said, we just don't like that noise. And every so often it's come to a vote and they've continued to say, we don't like that noise. And so they ferry these horses across, these big kind of like Budweiser horses. And whenever all the tourists come, the horses come, and whenever the tourist season is done, they leave.
Okay, so staff member drives your car across.
No. So
does what with
Mackinac Island is a different spot in Michigan, right? So this is the bridge that connects like upper peninsula to lower peninsula across the strait. But I know what you're talking about. There is an island, like a tourist spot. And yeah, my parents have actually vacationed there. I've heard stories from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the Mackinac people, because it's not like they're just not stealing your car and being like, we just don't want your car here, so we're going to take your car and fuck you.
I'm assuming to get to Mackinac Island, there's probably ferries that you would take across.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd heard about this Mackinac Island, and I thought to myself, I could live there.
I love it. Keep the tradition
I don't know
alive.
how the horses feel about it, but
I gotta squeeze a question in for you. So these stories of your travel are insane. Like there's probably, you could write a whole book about like getting to these places, how you got around in these places. I'm assuming you don't speak all these languages, but obviously being a travel writer for the BBC, you are the expert on traveling. So do you have any travel tips for us? Like how do you travel to some of these remote places?
Ooh, I mean, for the book, I took a 9-month sabbatical and basically did it all on my own. And yes, I had translators with me in a lot of the places. I don't speak Malayalam or Mandinka in West Africa. The best travel advice I would say is just don't overplan and just say yes to everything. Which don't get dangerous with it. Like don't put yourself in danger if you don't feel safe. But plan maybe one thing you want to do in a place and do that, and then just kind of be open to going with everything. And if you kind of say yes to life in general, I think it's just much more interesting. I don't know if that's good advice or bad advice, but that's my advice.
it's good. It's good advice if you aren't going to run out of money soon. I think I travel very differently now than I did when I was a graduate student. Was my first foray in Europe because I was doing research and other stuff, and I had to stuff had to work out. Now I'm kind of like, man, we'll see what happens. We'll see where we go. I do have a couple other questions to throw in there, but I also want to say I am terrified of crossing bridges. I am not afraid of heights, and I'm not afraid of water. And I'm not afraid of many things at all, but for some reason, I really struggle to cross bridges. And apparently this was true when I was a baby. And they would I would freak, I could not. So when Mark and I went to Maine, anytime we got to one of those bridges, we had to switch drivers because you can't drive across with your eyes closed, as it turns out.
Oh, man. Well, some of these bridges are here to help you. That wasn't the only one. There was another bridge that offered services to get across.
Yeah, I would take it personally. Ryan had a question that I didn't get to, and I just saw it up here, and it says, it is still a mirror image, right? Because I wondered this too with the whole more perfect mirror. It is actually still giving you a reversed image, right? It's not the specially made mirror.
Well, it doesn't distort. It's more true to the way that someone else actually sees you. So
okay, but it is still reversed.
It's still a reversed in what sense?
Like so when I look myself in the mirror, this is on that side. You know what I mean? It's not a mirror like a mirror image is you but reversed.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So like this right here is my right hand side.
Right.
Okay. In that sense, yes.
Okay. Because I was wondering that too. I was like, how did they do that?
You just made me think. You made me think of all the terrible mirrors I've ever seen in my life, where I'm like, that's not what I look like. Come on.
It's a funhouse mirror, basically.
For some reason, the School of Medicine at Case Western Reserve University, this brand new building, they bought the worst mirrors in the bathroom. Every time I walk into the men's room, I'm like, I feel terrible about myself.
Seriously, the place I was staying at in Manchester, I was like, I have aged 10 years on this trip. Then I got home and was like, no, I just have a much nicer bathroom mirror. It makes a difference. This is Wallace, by the way. He was crying. He wanted to know what I was doing in here. He's kind of, been a little slightly attached to me since I've been home. I have last two questions, actually a question and answer, which I thought was interesting. Might be fun to leave us with. Leanne had said, why is the world becoming homogenized? And Rebecca said, Leanne, I have a theory about Americans and that question. We are so attached to wanting to be able to buy an experience off the shelf, reliable, dependable, and the same, that it's flattening. And I thought, and I didn't end up putting those up earlier, but it's kind of funny. I feel like you answered it in your last point, where don't go with everybody does that. Don't be afraid to, go with be local. Do it. Do your own weird thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the question of why is the world becoming flatter? Or more homogenized or globalization. There are a lot of reasons. It's technology. It's ease of travel. It's more than anything economics. And the fact is, we're pricing out cultural heritage. And so all of these traditions that you can't really make a living doing are becoming obsolete and unattainable. Like no one pays the bridge master. The woman who makes the world's rarest pasta told me that she can't make a living doing it. The world is getting more expensive, and I think these things are falling by the wayside because we don't.
The movie poster guy.
Yeah. All these places. There are no places that are employing hand-painted movie poster painters anymore, and so when these places die off, so do the artists. Economics is probably the single biggest one, and it just comes down to what we value as a, not to get preachy about it, but we have lots of money for other things. So
yeah. Well, and speaking as a writer and an artist over here, it's extremely frustrating. I have been making a living as a writer and an artist for the last 5 or 6 years, but every year I don't know if I'm going to make a living doing that this year, and it's always really dicey, and it's hard not to get depressed because you think to yourself, well, but when things are hard, what do you do to entertain yourself? During COVID, everybody was reading books and watching movies, and all that's creative energy, but then people don't always want to pay for that.
You muted
Yeah,
yourself.
I mean,
Oh, I muted myself. I muted
There you
myself.
go.
I unmuted.
even in a country like Sweden, one of the wealthiest, most developed countries in the world, the night watchman makes less per hour than the national average, and yet, I mean, not only is he sort of like the literal and symbolic symbol of this town, but the town makes a ton of money off of this. I mean, it's
Right.
you have like the logo of the newspaper is the hornblower. I stayed at the Hornblower Hotel. You have like hornblower cafes. It's this kind of economic engine that makes it special, and yet they can't pay the guy more than whatever how many krona he makes per hour, and doesn't have
Yeah.
great benefits. And it's a choice at the end of the day.
It is. And I think but that's also something that I enjoyed this book for. So those of you who have read it, or those who might be thinking about buying it, it's available all over the place. It's also available on our bookshop. But I would say that I got frustrated. I did. I understand Brian's point. There were times when I was reading it where I was like, why can't people just pay for things? Why don't they realize that it's important? But you have to know about the things. And it's books like this that remind us that those things are important. That maybe you should spend some time with something handmade, and you don't need to get it off Temu or whatever. Like there's these other ways of acquiring. I say this, most of my stuff usually comes from vintage stores, but actually, even Davey saying about the old school optometrists, right? And now you get your glasses from Zenny, or you send away from them and they get shipped in. There's something to slow living. This book is about slow living in a way, and it's, I don't know, it's a really hopeful way of looking at the possibilities for human endeavor and output, I thought.
Well, thank you. Someone
We've
wants to
also got gardening, right? We've also
What's
got
that?
gardening, right? We've also got gardening, right?
That's right. My extremely expensive garden.
Yeah.
Totally worth doing.
Sorry, you were
anyway.
going to say something, Elliot.
Just someone recently wrote me and described it as a cozy anti-capitalist book, which I'd never considered before. But I think that
Nice.
there's something to that, which I was completely not conscious. But I think there's celebrating human ingenuity and not the Amazons, even after I've just pointed all of your listeners towards Amazon.
Hey, we got to get it,
As a way of supporting the artisan, that is. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So anyway, this was a great book. It was a great time. Thank you so much for being on. I know our hour has slipped away from us already, but this was a great conversation, and really enjoyed hearing from everything you had to say, but also from all of you, because you guys were great tonight. You lots and lots of comments, and it was fun. Anything you want to leave us with before we sign off?
I just wanted to thank both of you, and I wanted to also share, I mentioned this to you beforehand, but Brandy single-handedly had the most gorgeous and thoughtful and most beautiful review of my book. So I just wanted to let everyone know that you're in phenomenal hands here with a stunning writer, and she's very, very gracious to give her platform to other authors. But thank you so much for having me, or even reading the book. And if nothing else, I hope it encourages people to seek out individuals who are making things with their hands and trying to do their best every day.
Awesome. Here, says Rebecca. And I agree. So thank you, and thank all of you for joining us at a place where, if you're weird, you're family.
You got the blue bottle blues when you wake up in the night. Don't make a big mistake, 'cause you can never make it right. When you reach out for the vial, feel the ridges in the glass. It's a matter of survival, baby, better watch your back. There is no antidote.